This one goes out to my friend Cody. I hope things get better in the days to come, 'cause you deserve it. Well, they call it Stormy Monday, but Tuesday's just as bad. Yes, they call it Stormy Monday, but Tuesday's just as bad. Wednesday's worse, and Thursday's oh so sad. All the eagle flies on Friday, and Saturday I go out to play. Yes, the eagle flies on Friday, and Saturday I go out to play. But when Sunday rolls around, I get down on my knees and I pray. And this is what I say. Oh, Lord, have mercy. Lord, have mercy on me. I said, Lord, have mercy. Have mercy on me. 'Cause can't you see, sweet Lord, I'm in misery. Yes, I'm in misery. So, I spent a lot of time today listening to the stream by Ethan Van Sciver with Cecil and Captain Cummings and Edwin Boyette and Mitch Breitweiser and his wife Elizabeth and Weaponized Nerd Rage and a fellow named Miller. I can't remember his first name, but he's doing a new comic called Lone Star here soon enough. And who else was there? I'm trying to think. That Umbrella guy was there, and DNC popped in for a minute and made his rock star whatever, and then popped back out. Anyway, they spent a whole 5.5 some odd hours talking, just talking shop, talking comics, talking, Comicsgate and this and that and everything, and it was really fun. 5 hours. I listened to it for 5 hours, and I suppose the stream went on through the night, just before Ethan's Indiegogo hit 400,000 or so, and I really enjoyed it because it was kind of a community thing, and at the time, like over 1,000 people were listening to this thing for pretty much the whole time, as they went on and on and on, and I mean that's really quite cool. I mean I was pretty amazed by that. I'm gonna get myself a lozenge here because my throat is getting a little dry. I need that. It helps me out. And the great thing about it is it was the community aspect. Now, I online talk with a small cadre of people that we kind of get along, and we're some of the smaller creators, and we have our interplay and kind of a sub community within the larger community, and the big guys, the professionals, don't seem to notice us all that much. We've got some shout outs from people like Brett Smith, and to some extent like John Malin, excuse me. And I've talked briefly with like people like Ethan, but he doesn't know who the hell I am. I want that to change. I want to start to have them see us as a coming wave behind what they have created, and let's give them credit because of their name, because of their abilities, and because of Zach's ability to market himself. I don't necessarily think he's the greatest writer because what I've seen, it hasn't been amazing, but we'll see what happens with Jawbreakers. Hopefully he got a script doctor and had got some advice, and what comes out of Jawbreakers really does pop off the page, and the words reflect the visuals. That's what I'm hoping, and I put my money behind it just because of that. I believe that Ethan Van Sciver, because he has the gift of gab, I think that he has the ability to write amazing stuff. I really do. I think that he's got this fertile imagination that's just ready to explode. And the fact that DC didn't use him, of course, there is a reason why these creators don't want to say a whole lot there at the big two, because they'll either ignore you or they'll steal your ideas, and you'll only get a pittance if they give you credit at all. And I see why people went into Image in the first place back in the 90s. They wanted to create things without having to have these strings attached to, especially to Marvel and DC. And Image started to do that. That was the great thing about it back in the day. Today, it's all this, their creators are independent, but, in my opinion, a lot of this stuff is pretty lackluster. And then there are some great things, but they don't really go, they're not continuing. And one of the reasons I think that, this community is so important is we are inclusive. No matter what the opposition says, we are inclusive. We don't have a problem with anybody, whether they're, white, black, Asian, Polynesian, Indian, whoever wants to come and put their input in and talk and have a good time, we're here. And that goes to gender as well. Female, male, transgender, whatever, as long as you don't get up in people's face about, people being of different thought. The same thing with religion. We've got Muslims and I've seen Hindus out there who are willing to come and be a part of this. And I'm sure that there are Jews, because there are always Jews in comics. I mean, we have Jews to thank for most of the comic characters that we have, the great ones. And there's another point I want to talk about. Why are comics important? Why should we pay attention to this niche, hobby? What's the point of it? Why have they resonated through other media, especially film? Why have they continued for 75 years? Well, they come out of the tradition of pulp and the dime store novels that went back into the 1800s, that told stories that talked about heroes and about villains too, and told, set the standards for people. Well, when comics really exploded, it was a time of great hardship, the Great Depression, and people needed hope. People needed something to look to and to believe in. And these characters were created. Now, the other side is going to say that, they've always been social justice warriors. That's what they are. I would disagree. I would just say they're heroes. They are the personification of our values. And our idealized values, our idealized courage and sacrifice and all these other things that make a person great. And how they look reflects that. They look like the gods and goddesses of ancient lore. And every culture we've ever had has these myths, these legends. And comics, for America, especially today, those myths and legends are comic book heroes. We've created our own hero system, our own pantheons, that we can draw information about ourselves from those characters. And they were put together by men who had suffered great things, who had went through great hardships, both in, economically, and had seen where we'd come from, and then had to go through a great war. And they built these things, and they were built by mostly men, yes. And then later on, as the subsequent ages of comics came about with the Silver Age and the Bronze Age and so forth, we got the voices of women and of people of color giving their side of things, often written by a white man, let's be honest. But as things went on, there were people there. Now, I believe that has to happen. We need people of all strata, of all diverse populations to contribute to these things. However, you don't tear down one strata to introduce another. White people are not the devil. They don't destroy people. If we look at history, everybody's had their time in the sun and done terrible and great things. Every culture, every people, every race, every religion has done great and terrible things. That aside, the great thing about comics is when you read a good comic, you get something out of it. It's not just a story and adventure and escapism, which is great about it, but the subtext will teach you something. Now, the problem with comics today and the people creating them, they don't know what true heroism is. They don't know what true oppression is. They don't know what true hardship is. People who live in the United States rarely have true hardship. And if they do, it's because they can't seem to get out of their own rut. Because there's opportunity everywhere for everyone. Otherwise, people wouldn't be trying to get here. They'd be trying to get away from this place. That's just the dang truth. And if you don't believe that, I don't know what to tell you. But they don't know how to tell these stories. They don't know how to build the legacy that has been put up. And what I want to say is that the people coming up, like me and like Cody Fernandez and Sean Campbell and Brian Ball with Rags and the Ferryman and Jack Irons and Ravage and Cyberfrog and Jawbreakers and Red Rooster. These have to be the new characters. We need to build these into heroes of legend that can typify the things that we want our country to be. Our legends and myths that inform us, that cause us to be better people, and that can go out and be the seed that really tells our story, tells the American story. Because right now, especially with Marvel, they've lost the plot of what these characters should be, trying to be inclusive and diverse. They're not telling the story that truly has to be there about who we are. They're saying that everything's terrible and everything's horrible, and they have been for the last going on a decade now. That the world is not how they want it to be. Well, the world is never utopia. But we can make things better by being good to each other and knowing that most everybody is striving to be better people. And those that aren't, we have to watch out for them. We have to look for them and isolate them and then, teach our people to be better and not to be like that. I'm not saying to take them out or anything. I'm just saying that they're always going to be the hidden malcontents in all of our strata. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. I appreciate it. Look out for Little Girl Lethal.